I made ChatGPT write nonsensical stories, but each time the stories got even more nonsensical and crazy. Enjoy! Write a fanfic about a fly that couldn't fly, but instead of flying, it teleported. But each time it teleported, a whole Jesus would take a shit on planet Earth. In a quiet corner of an old barn, a small fly named Felix was born. Unlike other flies, Felix had a unique quirk. He couldn't fly. His wings, though perfectly formed, refused to lift him off ground. Felix felt different, but he soon discovered he had a peculiar ability that set him apart. He could teleport. Felix first realized his talent when he just a few days old, desperately trying to escape a looming spider. He closed his eyes and wished himself away. In a blink, he found himself on the other side of the barn, amazed and bewildered. Felix began to experiment with his newfound power, teleported from one haystack to another, from the dusty floor to the rafters above. However, this remarkable ability came with unusual and rather inconvenient consequences. Each time Felix teleported, a whole Jesus, complete with robes. Oh my god. Oh my god, my head. Complete with robes, halo, and serene expression, would materialize high above Earth and take an ethereal, miraculous shit on the planet. This divine event went largely unnoticed by the world. Except for a few mystified astronomers and bewildered meteorologists who occasionally reported unexplained meteor-like streaks and mysterious new craters. One sunny afternoon, Felix decided to explore beyond the barn. He teleported to the edge of the nearby forest, excited to see what lay beyond his familiar world. As he popped from one place to another, several Jesuses began their celestial defecation routine, creating quite a stir in the scientific community. On Earth, subtle changes began to occur, with curious incidents of sudden plant growth and random patches of exceptionally fertile soil appearing in various locations. I'm losing it. Felix, blissfully unaware of the divine bowel movements, continued his adventure. He teleported to a bustling city, landing on a windowsill of a high-rise building. Inside, he observed humans in their natural habitat, marveling at their size and complexity. With each teleport, another Jesus appeared in the sky, continuing the strange ritual that was now becoming a topic of great intrigue among scholars and theologians. One day, while resting on a park bench, Felix met an old lady named Margaret. She noticed his struggle to fly and took pity on the little fly. "Poor thing," she said gently. "You can't fly like the others, can you?" Felix buzzed in response. His tiny wings fluttered uselessly. Margaret, sensing his uniqueness, whispered, "Don't worry, little one. Sometimes our differences are what makes us special." Inspired by Margaret's kindness, Felix decided to use his teleportation ability for good. He began to teleport to places where he could help other insects in need, rescuing ants from drowning puddles, guiding lost bees back to their hives, and leading spiders away from dangerous territories. Each teleport brought another Jesus into the sky, each one continuing their unearthly ritual, but now these celestial events seemed to bring a touch of unexpected blessings to the world below. As Felix's reputation grew, other insects began to look up to him, not just for his teleportation, but for his bravery and kindness. He became a legend in the insect world, known as the fly who couldn't fly, but could do something even more extraordinary. The Jesuses, though never fully understood by the inhabitants of Earth, seemed to bring a strange harmony to the world, as if their divine acts were a blessing in disguise. Felix's journey taught him that his inability to fly was not a limitation, but a gift. He embraced his teleportation power, knowing that every leap brought a touch of the divine to Earth. And so, in the quiet corners of the barn, the bustling city streets, the wide expanse of the forest, Felix continued to teleport, leaving behind a trail of miracles that would be remembered for generations to come. Now it gets political. Now it gets very weird and political. Write a story about Donald Trump making a blimp out of sand, but not knowing sand is not blimpable. So instead, he stays home and picks his toenails for dirt. Dirt that he uses to fertilize the queef farms where Bible grows. And I don't know, you make up the rest, fuck you. In an alternate reality where the rules of logic and physics were as fluid as dream, Donald Trump found himself in a grandiose pursuit. One day while lounging in his lavish home, an idea struck him like a bolt of lightning. "I shall build the greatest blimp the world has ever seen," he declared to no one in particular. Actually, let me do a proper Donald Trump voice. "I shall build the greatest blimp the world has ever seen," he declared to no one in particular. and it shall be made of the finest sand. He imagined a magnificent golden blimp soaring through the skies, its sand shimmering in the sunlight. Convinced of his genius, Trump ordered truckloads of sand to be delivered to his sprawling estate. For days, he supervised as workers piled sand into an enormous mound, ready to shape it into an airborne masterpiece. However, there was a tiny flaw in his grand plan. Sand, as it turns out, is not suitable material for building blimps. As the workers attempted to mold and construct, the sand refused to cooperate, collapsing under its own weight and sifting through their fingers like a stubborn mirage. Frustration mounted, and eventually Trump had to concede that his dream of a sand blimp was unattainable. Disheartened, but not defeated, he decided to stay home and focus on a more personal, albeit peculiar task. Sitting in his opulent living room, he turned his attention to his toenails. Methodically, he picked at them, collecting the dirt and grime that accumulated. Each small mound of dirt was gathered with surprising care. With a jar full of this unusual collection, Trump ventured out to his backyard, where an unusual garden awaited him. The Quay Farms. The Quay Farms were known for their unique crop, Bibles. These sacred books sprouted from the earth, their leather covers gleaming under the sun, pages fluttering in the breeze like leaves. Trump, with his jar of toenails, saw an opportunity to contribute to this curious agricultural endeavor. He sprinkled the dirt around the base of the Bible plants, convinced that his personal touch would enhance their growth. To his astonishment, the Bible seemed to thrive, their pages growing thicker, their words more profound. The Quay Farms flourished under his unconventional care, becoming a place of wonder and mystery. Word of Trump's peculiar farming success spread far and wide. Pilgrims and tourists flocked to the Quay Farm, eager to witness the miraculous Bibles and to understand the secret behind their growth. Trump, ever the showman, reveled in the attention, giving tours and sharing his unique horticultural methods. One day, as he walked through the flourishing fields of Bibles, Trump had an epiphany. Perhaps it wasn't the material of blimps or dirt from his toenails that mattered, but the willingness to embrace the absurd and unexpected. In this whimsical world where logic took a backseat to imagination, he had found a new sense of purpose and satisfaction. And so, in reality, where dreams could be as wild as the wind and as tangible as the Bible sprouting from the ground, Donald Trump continued to nurture his Quay Farms. The blimp of sand might have been an impossibility, but the Bibles that grew from the earth, fed by the dirt of his own making, became a testament to the power of embracing the fantastical and bizarre. And this strange dreamlike place where the impossible became possible, Trump found a peculiar kind of peace, picking his toenails and watching his Bible grow one miraculous page at a time. Joe Biden is raising ice cream, but it melts whenever he touches it. So to fix the problem, he teaches toucans to fly into the sun in a suicidal mission of nonsense that would, through the butterfly effect, cause the laws of the universe to make ice cream not melt. He blamed everyone except the Jews when winter never ended as a consequence for his plans. In a whimsical and absurd alternate reality, Joe Biden found himself facing a peculiar and frustrating problem. As a passionate ice cream lover, he had taken up the unique hobby of raising ice cream. He nurtured it, crafted it in various flavors, and even named his favorite creations. However, there was one significant hitch. Whenever he touched the ice cream, it melted instantly, leaving him perpetually deprived of his favorite treat. Determined to solve this bizarre dilemma, Biden spent countless nights pondering a solution. One evening, while watching a documentary about exotic birds, inspiration struck. He concocted a plan so outlandish that it seemed almost plausible in this topsy-turvy world. He would train toucans to fly into the sun. According to his theory, the resulting chaos and butterfly effect would alter the laws of the universe, making ice cream impervious to melting. With boundless enthusiasm, Biden set up a makeshift training facility in his backyard. He gathered an army of toucan, each bird more colorful and confused than the last. He coached them, urging them to embark on their suicidal mission into the sun. The toucans, not entirely comprehending the grim task, followed his instruction with a mix of curiosity and bewilderment. As the toucans took flight, soaring higher and higher, Biden watched with a mix of hope and trepidation. The birds disappeared into the horizon, leaving behind a trail of feathers and an eerie silence. Days turned into weeks, and Biden waited anxiously for the cosmic shift that would grant him his unmelting ice cream. However, instead of the intended outcome, the universe responded in a wholly unexpected manner. The toucan sacrifice triggered a chain reaction that plunged the world into an unending winter. Snow blanketed the land, and ice cream became a permanent fixture, as solid and unyielding as the frozen earth itself. Biden, facing the consequences of his ill-conceived plan, was at a loss. People everywhere bewildered by the eternal winter, and the president's bizarre scheme became the stuff of legend. In an attempt to deflect blame, Biden held a press conference. He stood before the nation, snowflakes falling around him, and declared, "This eternal winter is nobody's fault but mine, and certainly not the fault of the Jews." He had to make sure people weren't devolving into anti-Semitism, and certainly not the fault of the Jews. His peculiar disclaimer baffled many, but it also became a rallying cry for unity in the face of absurdity. As winter stretched on, people adapted to their new reality. Snowball fights and ice skating became everyday activities, and ice cream, once a rare and cherished treat, was now in endless supply. Biden, though regretful of his plan's unintended consequences, found solace in the fact that his beloved ice cream would never melt. Children and adults alike spreading a small measure of joy in the world transformed by his folly. In this strange, frozen world, life carries on with a touch of whimsy and resilience. The toucan's heroic flight into the sun became a fable told around fireplaces, and Biden's eternal winter stood as a statement to the unpredictable nature of the universe and the enduring spirit of those who dare to dream, no matter how nonsensical their dream might be. Write a very short story about a comb, a hammer, a full-blown AIDS, and an incest kid laying on the floor spazzing out for no good reason, and make it all happen in gelatin. Now, what are we actually doing with this one? In a surreal world where the laws of reality had taken a vacation, a peculiar scene unfolded in a pool of shimmering gelatin. Amidst the I can't. This is so stupid. Amidst the wobbling waves of translucent jelly, a comb, a hammer, and a full-blown AIDS virus found themselves inexplicably entangled in the dance of chaos and confusion. Hey, where's the incest kid? The comb, its teeth glistening like tiny swords in the soft light, lay forgotten in a corner of gelatinous abyss. Nearby, the hammer, its wooden handlestick with sticky gelatin, rested with an air of resigned defeat. And amidst it all, a full-blown AIDS virus, tiny and inconspicuous, floated aimlessly, its presence both ominous and incongruous. But the strangest sight of all was the incest kid, sprawling on the floor, limbs flailing. Dude, I can't do this. I can't. This is okay. But the strangest sight of all was the incest kid sprawled on the floor, limbs flailing in a frenzy of nonsensical spazzing, his eyes wide with bewilderment. He thrashed about, oblivious to the bizarre company he kept. In this surreal tableau, time seemed to stand still as the comb, the hammer, and the AIDS virus watched in silent fascination. The gelatin shimmered and quivered, casting shifting shadows on the scene below, and in the midst of it all, the incest kid continued his inexplicable dance, a strange and inexplicable spectacle in the jelly-filled void. As the gelatin rippled and undiluted around them, the comb, the hammer, and the full-blown AIDS virus exchanged bewildered glances. What strange twist of fate had brought them together in this jelly-filled world? And what strange force drove the incest kid to spat out so wildly, oblivious to the surreal chaos unfolding around him? Alas, the answers remained elusive, lost to the gelatinous depth of this bizarre and bewildered realm. And so, in a world where anything was possible and nothing made sense, the comb, the hammer, the full-blown AIDS virus, and the incest kid continued their strange and inexplicable dance, lost in the gelatin and the absurdity of it all. My brain is destroyed.